Spice Island in the Pot is brought to you by Stumpy's Emporium and the Penny Savers Supermarket.
Welcome back to Spice Island in the Pot. It is Christmas time. We're beginning the process of that true Trinbago Christmas. So I just made some sorrel from the fresh sorrel flower. Family to the hibiscus. Don't forget that nice red sweet drink that we enjoy all through the season. My friends are coming to help me make some pastelle, so I'm getting all the things ready. So when they come, we can enjoy some pastelle, drink some sorrel, and have a good time. So I'm making two types of pastelle. Today we're going to go with the traditional beef pastelle, and I'm going to do some soya chunks. To season and make all of this really good, I'm going to season with some fresh chopped seasoning, chive or spring onion, pimento peppers, garlic, and I hand chopped some celery and I mixed it all together in this little section of green goodness right here. Then I have a little bit of mustard. This is honey mustard, but regular mustard would work as well. That is fine. Now you can use your favorite pepper sauce or any spicy flavor that you enjoy during the year. This would give your pastelle a nice personal touch so people know it comes from you. So this is just my favorite version of something spicy, which is like a very spicy piece. And I get this at Penny Savers as well. This is some minced ginger and thyme together. Now I didn't incorporate the ginger and thyme into my first seasoning because I don't want it to be too strong. It's just, you know, a nice hint of these flavors that I want here. I have some lemons that I'm going to get the juice out of to freshen up my meat a little bit. This is the soya chunks. So this here, it comes really dry in a pack on the shelves of the supermarket. And to prep this, you'd need to do, well, this is 2 cups of the soya chunks, and then I added 2 cups of warm water and I let it sit and absorb the water. So now it's very soft and ready to cook. Of course, ketchup is going to turn all our filling into a nice pasty consistency, because what you really want in your pastelle is a nice moist filling, and that is really important. You don't want something that's running with liquid. It's going to be a messy pastelle that way. So let's begin. So I'm going to do the soy first, and it's basically the same seasoning for both. So here I have my soy chunks. I'm going to do a little lemon. Now the lemon that I have here, we'd have gotten this when it was lemon season, you know, it's seasonal here. So I froze some, and see, it's good as new. And I just let it defrost. You know me and my trusty little bags. I have them frozen whole just like this. So I'm just going to do about half here. Get that juice in there. Perfect. Right, we're gonna go with the fresh seasoning, and be generous with your seasoning because pastelle is it's a little side dish. So see here, I have a good bit of green seasoning. Pastelle is a side dish, but it's just that little bit of filling in that cornmeal envelope that makes all the difference. So you wanna be very generous with that. So I'm going to put my little ginger and thyme mix in here. And pretty much all the meats that you choose to put in here requires the same set of seasoning and goodness to it. So I want a little kick. This is actually optional. If you want your filling to have a nice little kick to it, then you can add, you know, the hot sauce to that. A little bit of my mustard, just about 2. Perfect. So I'm going to start mixing this together. Already looking nice, bright, and fresh. Now, pastelle is a lot of work. So what I do, because I have to make so much for work, I make all of my fillings ahead of time. So I take one day, I do all my fillings. I take another day, I do something else. So you can do it in parts. So even seasoning and cooking these meats, you can do that one day and put them in containers and store them in the fridge, and they'll be perfectly fine for a day or two when you're ready to actually complete the process. So this is done. I'm gonna do my beef. Now the only difference that I like to do with my beef is to add a little dark rum or red wine, just a little bit. So I have here some red wine. I'm just going to put a little bit, just about a 1/4 cup. There we go. And this is 2 pounds of beef that I'm using, and 2 pounds of beef really goes a long way. So I have some more seasoning here for this. So drop that in there. course, the ginger and thyme goes in there. Some of my spicy goodness. Perfect. And my mustard. There we go. And don't forget, just about, again, half of rough skin lemon. Lime would work here too. Half of a lime would work. That would also be just fine for this recipe. Cool. So juicy. See, you could just freeze the lemons and it'll be perfectly fine when you're ready to use them. Okay, so this is good. So we're gonna mix this up here, just like we did with the soya. Now, especially around Christmas time, you have a lot of little rum running around here and there. So a little dark rum, like I said, will be good with this recipe. Will give it a nice flavor. Good. So now my meat filling is ready. Looking good. I'm gonna get this cooked up on my stove and add my pasty goodness of ketchup. There we go. So we're heading over to the stove. Okay, so 2 pots on the stove at once, medium to high fire. There we go. Okay, so let's start with the beef. We're gonna do just a touch, not a lot of vegetable oil, just a little bit. Right, and we're gonna let this get heated, and then for the soy chunks, same thing. If you use a non-stick pot, that will be ideal. So once this gets into a nice good temperature, we're gonna add this. Now these things cook really fast, so you have to pay attention. There we go. Okay. Give it a nice stir. Go. And then right at the same time we can add the soy chunks right here. Okay. Good. So this here is going to take a short time to cook up, and you don't want to cook it too much because remember, when you fill the pastels you still have to steam it. So we're going to cook it just when it's about ready, till that point. So there we go. Right. So when the beef starts looking a little greeny, that's a good way to tell. Then we're going to just add the final stuff here. When it gets to that point, that's when I just like to add a little salt to taste, a little black pepper in that moment. There we go. So we're going to stir this up here. Right. So the soya is going to cook a lot faster than the beef. This is probably going to take about 10 minutes simmering here, about 15 to 20 for this one. Leave it uncovered and just let it take its time on that fire to cook. Okay, so my beef is almost ready. My soya mince is just about ready as well. So I'm going to do the final season and make it into a nice, moist, pasty filling for our pastel. So just a little salt to taste here. Remember, we did put some spice in there, so easy on the salt. Right? Going to add some salt to my beef one time because you know we're looking to be smart about what we're making. Thyme and so on. A little bit of black pepper. There we go. Both. Right, some parsley as a finishing touch. Nice, perfect. So let's stir and see what's happening. So I've lowered this soya chunks there to have it just kind of kusume a little bit. So this is good here. See the nice texture of the beef. It's not full of liquid. It's just enough to give you the moisture. There we go. And perfect. This is a nice texture for this. So I'm going to add my final ingredient here, which is my ketchup. A little there. Perfect. And a little here. What you're looking for here is consistency. There's a consistency that you need to have to make sure that the filling is good. So it's not runny, it's nice and pasty. Right. So this is good here. Stir this in. I'm going to switch this off here now. Right. So this is perfect. See that nice fluffy texture? And like I said, you can store this in containers, so you can do all of this one day and then do another set of prep for your pastels another day. So this is good. So I'm gonna finish off my beef. So I'm just gonna switch this off now and mix this in to that nice pasty consistency. So this is good as well. So the next step is the dough. This is the cornmeal envelope at the outside of the pastel. So we're gonna get that done. We're gonna let this cool down here to a nice manageable temperature, and I'm gonna head over and get my dough started. So we're about to start making our dough for the pastel, or the cornmeal envelope, if you will. And it's 3 basic ingredients. So I have 3 cups of cornmeal here, 1/2 cup of butter, and some hot water. Now, each time that you use cornmeal, it yields differently. So I may give you a measurement, but you have to also look for consistency with this. So my first step is to get my butter into my mixing bowl. This is Mr. Silver. If you haven't met him before, he's one of my favorite people. So I have my butter there, and I'm gonna add about 2 cups of water to this to start. My butter is at room temperature. This makes it easy for everything to get melted. I'm just gonna give it a little stir just to get it going so it doesn't lump up here. Okay. So set this up. And we start this on a nice slow stir. Okay, this is just to get it melted. Just adjust this here. Right. So you're gonna stir this until the butter is completely melted and mixed in with the water. Right. So that is melted. So I'm now adding my cornmeal here. And you want to gradually add your hot water as you start to stir this to get a nice soft dough. Okay, so let's go. For this amount, I average 6 cups of hot water, but it may be less and it may be more, but I will definitely show you the consistency that you're looking for. We can speed this up a little. So you also want to have it nice and fluffy. You want to get some air into the dough. Make sure that it's nice and soft so that when you roll them out and you fill it, it's a nice texture going in. So I will add a little more water to this. Okay, almost there. Now, I know when I make pastel with my mother, it's a whole production because we have to make a lot. But what we do, we get Lifetime Movie Network running in the corner. So we have some movies to entertain us for the day. You know, they have those movies that you don't really need to follow, like say Avengers, to get all the details. You could go back and forth and not miss a thing. So we set it up like that, and we make a couple hundred pastels in a day. So we entertain ourselves like that. So I'm gonna check this for consistency. So you see when I poke it, there's no liquid in here, everything pulled away from the bowl. So when I poke it, it's still nice and soft. And when I do like this, now there's still a little grainy texture to this. So you wanna get it as smooth as possible. So I'm going to put just a touch more here to make it nice and soft again. Go. I'm gonna go a little faster. Mr. Silver is a little anxious today. Okay, so let me check. This is perfect. So nice dough. No liquid in the bowl, of course, and you see? Now, my hands are accustomed to heat, so you may want to let this cool a little. And I always say a good size for pastel balls are like this big. So if you're holding it like this, with your hand, this will probably fill my tummy. Your size hand will probably fill your tummy. So this is actually a good size. So you make little balls like this, and you can just set them up Make all your balls and then start filling. So my friends are almost there. I'm gonna make these balls out. And so when they come, we have all the ingredients ready. We're gonna press and fold everything and make pastels.